Good morning, everyone. I hope you are able to hear me. You are able to watch my screen. This is Mohan. I am here for blockchain training, and we are going to talk about the blockchain technologies now. Okay, so this is from RTL online training, the demo which we are providing. So RTL online training is one of the leading online training last 7 years, providing the online trainings and also the corporate trainings to the students. Okay, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Can get it here. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you'll be getting the latest videos and also the trainings which we are going to provide. Okay, thank you. So, and we are based out in Hyderabad and Bangalore, and we have started the operations from Bangalore. And this is both online training and as well as the placement trainers we are providing. Regarding the placements, please contact this number. They'll provide the details about the placements and all this. Okay, fine. So, very good morning, everyone. Satish, Suresh, and Nirmal, Naresh, and Kumar, and Venu, and Chandra here. Fine. So before we go for the blockchain training, we will just please drop your technology which you are working here, which technology you are working, and how much experience you have. Please drop in the chat window. I'll just go through and I will explain whether the blockchain technology can be suitable or not. So meanwhile, okay, and during my session, if you have any doubts, please raise the hand. You have the option in your Zoom option you have. So you can raise the hand or you can enter in the chat window. Please enter in the chat window. So whatever the doubts you have, so that I'll read the doubt and clarify the things. But still you are not clear, please raise the hand so that I'll unmute you so that we can have an interaction and we'll be discussing. Okay, so for further any contact, please contact this numbers, any this one, and whatever the training we are going to provide, this is going to be weekends. We are going to provide every day 2.5 hours, and Saturday and Sunday 2.5 hours, and also regular days it will be morning 6 to 7, and it will be in the evening late hours like 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. IST, so that we have different batches are going on. Okay, so that you can get the information. So in this demo, we are going to talk about what is blockchain, the introduction, what is blockchain, and what are the elements we are using in the blockchain, and blockchain features, and what are different types of blockchain. In case if any client would like to implement the blockchain technology for their business, okay, so what are different types of blockchains we have in the market, okay, and what are the different use cases we have in the blockchain, and what is the timeline for blockchain and potentiality and different facts. And we'll be talking about our codes, whatever Ethereum codes we are going to talk, and we will finally see the questions and answers. This is the agenda of our demonstration today. Okay, demonstration today. Here it is. Yes. So before we start discussing about the definition of blockchain, so we'll just have a couple of basic definitions. The first one is P2P network, peer-to-peer network. So what is the meaning of peer-to-peer network? If you look at these two diagrams here, this diagram is network with central server. So now 99% in the world, every client is following this technology. It means they have a server where their complete data application is centralized, and they are connecting from other peers. Nothing but a peer is nothing but a computer. It's as simple as we can say one of the PC or one of the server, we can simply say. Okay. So this is centralized server, which is going on right now, the technology. And here your entire application and data has been stored, and the clients are connecting from their peers to access the data to perform some transactions on this. Now, if we look at a peer-to-peer network here, decentralized. This is centralized and this is decentralized peer-to-peer network. When we say decentralized, your data will not be stored on a single machine. It will be stored on every peer, and once you perform one transaction here, immediately the transaction will be applied in all the peers. It means immediately the copy will be stored in this particular peers. Okay. If something goes wrong in this particular peer, means in this particular server or computer, immediately you can load from this to this particular peer, so that there will be a high security and there is no chance for hacking or any server down or any other activities. Okay. This is architecture blockchain will work. This peer-to-peer network, the blockchain will work. So a peer-to-peer network is one in which two or more PCs share the files. So we can share the files or transactions we can perform, and we can access the devices such as printers without requiring a separate server, computer or servers. So we can access from all these peers here. Okay. Next, distributed ledger. Distributed, basic definition of ledger is whenever you perform some financial transaction, let's say today I paid my house rent to a building owner. That is a financial transaction I made, either through credit card or through online or through check or any other document. I have paid some amount to a building owner. So that's a transaction I have done. Okay. So whenever I made some transaction, we will capture some information, right? I paid in currency called INR. I paid some 25,000, and I have paid on so-and-so date, and I have paid through so-and-so network. This all information like currency, calendar, nothing but a date, and account. We have paid rent and the currency. This all methodology, we call it as a ledger. So enterprises, day-to-day transactions, financial transactions, they will be performing some thousands of transactions every day. That whenever they are going to group all these financial transactions, we call it as a ledger. That everybody is following, not only in blockchain, in every technology, like in Oracle, SAP, and mainframes, everywhere we are using the ledgers. Okay. But when we say distributed ledger, okay. So the distributed ledger is nothing but a shared ledger. We can also call it as a shared ledger or distributed ledger technology, DLT. DLT stands for distributed ledger technology. Here. Okay. So DLT is a consensus of replicated. It's a shared and synchronized digital data geographically spread across multiple sites, countries, and institutions here. So here, if you look at centralized ledger, distributed ledger. So centralized ledger means whatever the transactions this person has done, and to this person, we don't find the ledger here or ledger. It will be stored somewhere here. You have to depend on some third party. For example, if you are going to if you are going to perform some transaction between ICICI to, let's say you are paying money from ICICI Bank, ICICI transaction to SBI transaction. So we can't transfer directly. In between, we'll get something called third party, some PayPal or someone, some third party will come into the transaction, and then it will be transferred. So where will be the ledger? So as a customer, I'm transferring the amount from my account to some other account in SBI. So the transaction first happened ICICI to some PayPal, from PayPal to SBI. So there will be a transaction ledger between these three people. Okay. I'm not getting that here. So here the data is centralized. But when we talk about in the blockchain technology, for every transaction, that ledger, whatever is prepared, that will be shared across your nodes. Means you can store it here in your nodes. You don't need to depend on someone else, or you don't need to trust on particular person here. The moment when you do the transaction, you can find that ledger in your peer itself. That's called distributed ledger. Okay, so blockchain technology is a peer-to-peer network. It's a distributed ledger technology, and it's a cryptographically secured. Nowadays, we know that everybody, like when we want to perform some transactions, we should have some security. Now the blockchain technology, whatever transactions you are performing, and cryptographically these are secured. You might have seen, generally when we say security, the people will start right from the password. So we will set the password so that we have a security, and then we'll set the private key and public key. We'll get more security, and then we will change the entire data into the hash function. That will be give the ultimate. So that's what we call it as a hash. What is meant by hash? If we give some plain text to that hash technology, it's an algorithm. It will transfer all your plain text into some code or some format, 64-digit format. So that what will happen? So this entire plain text will be converted into this format, clipper text format. Okay, so when it is transferred into the code format, nobody can understand unless you have that hash with you. Okay, so that your information is highly secure. Okay, in blockchain technology, whatever transactions we are performing, those are completely secured with cryptography. Option. Okay. Then immutable. Whatever the transactions you performed in the blockchain technology, those cannot be changed. Those transactions cannot be changed. Here it is. That is immutable. The transactions are immutable. Here it is. And consensus. Consensus is nothing but when multiple people are in a group and take some decision, make sure that everybody should agree it. Then only we'll go ahead. Okay. Because when we say in the peer-to-peer network, multiple nodes are there in the network. Okay. So if multiple people are agree something, then it will be allowed. Otherwise, it's not allowed. So that's we call it as consensus. Okay. So there is a simple example for consensus. Okay. Here, if you are going to a movie with your friends, then what happens generally? Make sure that you need to reach a consensus about which movie we are going. So make sure that everybody is agree. Here it is. Okay. So that's called consensus. Here it is. So there are there are 5 important things before we enter into the blockchain definition. What are that 5 things here? We can see that peer-to-peer network, distributed ledger, and cryptography, and immutability, and consensus. Okay, that's called blockchain. Now this is what the blockchain definition. This is what the blockchain definition. If you look at here, the blockchain is a peer-to-peer network. It's a distributed ledger that is cryptographically secured, and whatever transactions you are performing in blockchain, those are append only. You can't delete. Once the transaction is performed, nobody can delete that transaction in the blockchain technology, and it's immutable. So extremely hard to change. In case if you want to modify some the transaction, it is extremely hard to modify, and it is updatable only. Okay, so via consensus or agreements among peers. For example, there are 10 members are there in the network, and out of 10, if 6 people are accepted, then it is allowed to modify. Then it is allowed to modify. Nothing but with agreement among the peers here. Fine. So any doubts here, please let me know. So this is what our blockchain, if you look at here, peer-to-peer, immutable, secured with cryptography, appending only to the network, and distributed, and consensus. So somebody can say that what is blockchain? Is it database, or is it application, or is it some integration tool, or is it a reporting tool, something like. Blockchain is a database. Simply we can say it's a database. It's a distributed technology database, and in the current scenario in the worldwide, the data whatever you are performing, it is stored in the centralized server. If something happens to this server, there is no chance that you can recover. But if your client is using the blockchain technology, the data will be stored in our all nodes it will be stored in all nodes in hash function. So nobody can read. Only if you want, you can read. Okay. But you can, in case if something happens to this particular node, immediately you can recover from here. Immediately you can recover from here it is. So that's the major advantage of the blockchain technology here. And consensus, most of the people who are on the network, then it will be used. Okay. So blockchain technology, it's a database. We can simply say it's a database. It's a distributed ledger technology database. Once the transaction happened, whoever parties or nodes are there in the network, it will be stored in all the people. Okay. So to whom we can implement this blockchain technology? So who will be the customers right now in the market is, if you say, I want to implement blockchain technology for only one party or one company or within the enterprise. No, I don't think so blockchain will be suitable. When multiple parties are there and when the multiple parties are wanted to do some business, then blockchain is 100% suitable. When I say multiple parties, let's say I'll give you a simple scenario. So let's say we have an MRF corporation here who will be performing some manufacturing, and they want to buy some raw materials from supplier. Okay. So when they want to buy raw materials from supplier, let's say there are some people who are supplying raw materials in the market. Let's say Advantage Corporation is one of the supplier who are providing some raw materials. Okay. And after buying the raw materials, let's say there is a bank and we will be paying some amount. Let's say we are paying from Bank of America. Yes. So now how many parties are there here? 3 parties. Parties are nothing but a companies. So MRF company is doing some manufacturing business and they need some materials. So obviously they will be buying some supplier. After buying, they'll pay some amount. Obviously, amount has to be paid after the procurement. After the procurement, amount will be paid here. So this amount, whatever transaction, that will happen through the bank. So how many parties are involved here? Three parties. Three parties. So all these three parties can define on the same network. The moment when MRF company has given some order to Advantage Corporation, immediately that information will be sent to all three people. The transaction, because all three people are on the same network. All three people are on the same blockchain network. Okay, they have to define their own blockchain network, and this is one node. We call it as one node, and this is one node, and this is one node. One node is nothing but a one server or one system or one address in our, like we have email address in every Gmail, right? I hope everybody is having Gmail account. Okay, so it's like that. Okay, so when these three people are on the same blockchain, when the moment MRF company has issued the order to the supplier, immediately the transaction will go to this bank also. Okay, so that the payment and everything will be transparency the moment whenever we pay that. Okay, I'll give you another example. Let's say we have something called Ash Technologies. Okay, and Ash Technologies is one of the level 5 company who are providing some software solutions to their clients. And let's say there is an some consulting company like Solix is a consulting company. They got some corporate training and they got some trainer from here. It is okay. They got some trainer. So how many people are there in this some network? 3 members are there. Okay. So whenever now in the blockchain technology, what happened? So Ash Technologies, Solix Consulting, and Trainer is these 3 nodes are there. We call it as a 3 parties. Okay. So now Ash Technologies is required some corporate training, and Solix is providing that and through the trainer. Okay. So Solix is just like a mediator, and trainer has provided the training here. So first what happened, whenever the transaction happened between the Ash Technologies to Solix, that immediately the transaction will go to the trainer also. And trainer will complete that training here. That information also will go to all the 3 people. Then Ash Technologies will pay the amount to Solix. That also will go to the trainer. And then trainer will be received amount. That also will be knowing by the Ash Technologies. So this 3 parties will be knowing what is happening between their business if they are in blockchain technology. If they are right now, the technology which is happening is what Ash Technologies is talking with Solix don't know the trainer, and what trainer is talking with Solix don't know the Ash, and what trainer is talking with Ash don't know the Solix. Nobody knows. These all 3 parties are individual. We do not have any link or we do not have any network where they are doing some transparency on the business. So when the blockchain comes into the picture, everything is transparent. There is no question that like if trainer is asking the amount after completion of the sessions, now Ash Technologies has paid already to Solix and trainer is asking some money about the Solix. So here Solix cannot say that Ash has not paid the amount. Okay. So like that, there will be a transparency between the parties. Whenever there is some transparency or global transactions are required between the parties, then blockchain is going to be 100% suitable for that. Only for one company within the company to maintain their transactions, maybe sometimes it is used, but not fully. Here it is. So is everyone is clear exactly where we will be using the blockchain technology in the real time? Fine. So now who are the first person using this blockchain technology is a Bitcoin. Everybody knows that Bitcoin is one of the cryptocurrency who are having the worldwide transactions, some billions of customers, billions of turnover they are performing with security and all this. Okay. So Bitcoin is one of the cryptocurrency. They are performing some financial transactions in online peer-to-peer network, means customer to customer directly, and they are doing some financial transactions. They use the blockchain technology. So Bitcoin is the first product. Bitcoin is the first product which is designed by using blockchain technology. So most of the people will get confusion. Bitcoin and blockchain both are same. No, Bitcoin as a product, it's a business, it's a cryptocurrency which was introduced in 2009 by using blockchain technology. By using blockchain technology, this has been introduced in 2009. It's almost 9-10 years back. It has started Bitcoin. After that, now everybody has started building the blockchain applications. So this is obviously proved product. If somebody says that, who are using your technology, can you show some client successfully using your technology? Then we can say Bitcoin. Bitcoin, they are using this blockchain technology to maintain their financial transactions successfully. So we can show it that. Okay. And after that, then the people have started using blockchain. A lot of people has implemented. We'll talk about that clients in the next level. Okay. So that's a definition about blockchain. So guys, do you have any doubts here? Fine. So the best example now in the live is, right now we are performing the session. Now I am recording the session here. Now I am recording the session. So where the record session will be stored? It will be stored in my system. Out of 7 members, it will be stored in my system. It is not stored in your system, right? That is called centralized. Right now this is, if the recording session is going to be stored in all our 7 systems, all our 7 nodes, that's blockchain technology. So it's a distributed, your information has been distributed to everybody. If you say our information wanted to store in all the nodes, then we can use the blockchain technology. Yes, Suresh, how performance will be improved using, always Suresh. For example, if you look at when you are retrieving the data from the database in the centralized server, everybody will try to connect into this one, okay, and try to read. Then obviously here performance low or equal. But when it comes to the decentralized environment, here we will see that the data will be stored here. Within seconds, you will be able to get it. So reading will be more. You will get more performance when you are retrieving the data. Yes. Okay. So these are blockchain features, peer-to-peer network. Okay. Because of peer-to-peer network, we call it as a decentralized. Your data is decentralized, not centralized. So if it is centralized, we have to depend on the same node only. If it is decentralized, then we don't need to depend on this one server or one node. We can get it from any other nodes in the network. And transparency and trust. Everybody can see the data and everybody can see what happened, what transaction happened, and they can see that information also. As I have shown you right now here, when the multiple parties are doing some business deal, are doing some contract business, obviously they wanted to know what is going on in the business. Definitely it's better to implement blockchain technology between them, and better they have to be a part of that. Definitely there will be a transactions and there will be a transparency in the business here. And it's immutable, impossible to change data once it is written. So once the transaction is happened, this cannot be taken back. So that's the beauty of the blockchain technology. And high available peer-to-peer network replication of data, as just now I have asked Satish. Because of that peer-to-peer network, it is high availability. The data will be replicated in multiple nodes. We can easily read this data, and security is always there. Cryptography, like symmetric, asymmetric cryptography is there. So we can have this security data is here, symmetric, and this one. And cost saving is no trusted third party. So we can eliminate middleman. So directly peer-to-peer network we are talking. So we don't need to depend on someone else on the middleman. So blockchain technology will eliminate the middleman completely. It's direct peer-to-peer network you are going to deal. Okay. Nowadays we know that because of this middleman, only the product or transactions or deliveries or productivity is going to get delayed. Okay. So, but once the blockchain technology is implemented, so there will be a there won't be any middleman in the transactions. What are different types of blockchains we have in the market? If any client says, yes, okay, I'm interested to implement the blockchain technology for my business, and because I'm dealing with multiple parties day to day, and I would like to go ahead with implementing multiple nodes in our network. So what are the blockchain options we have in the market? We have Bitcoin blockchain, we have Ethereum blockchain, we have Hyperledger blockchain, we have Corda blockchain, and of course a lot of blockchains are there nowadays, and in future you will be getting a lot of. In future, a lot of things you are going to. In fact, Indian government is planning to introduce some cryptocurrency coins. Actually, Indian government has not allowed the Bitcoin. It's not allowed legally in India. They are not allowed, and because of there's some security relation to the some central authority. Okay, and now the Indian government is planning to introduce their own blockchain network, and they wanted to introduce their own cryptocurrency into the market, because in the world almost every country is entering into the cryptocurrencies. Obviously the other countries also is supposed to follow it here. It's okay. So here like a lot of other we will see the blockchain. So Bitcoin is one of the blockchain. If you look at here, this is Bitcoin network, but this is public network. This I can't use it for the clients. It will be very, it takes long time, and it and a lot of nodes will be there, and it's very difficult to go ahead with implementing the blockchain technology for the clients, because it's a public network, and it's purely for financial transactions. It's purely for financial transactions. Maybe our client is related to the supply chain management, or food industry, or some real estate industry, or revenue departments, or government sector. Like this, our client might ask the questions and the requirements in different domains. Then Bitcoin network is not going to be used, or will be using some other networks. So what are other? Ethereum is there. Ethereum is more powerful now, and this is the Ethereum network which we have blockchain. So we can implement Ethereum blockchain. So these all are open sources, and based on the transaction only they will charge. If you are perform some transaction, and they'll charge. They won't charge for in the initial stage. In the initial stage they won't charge anything. And Hyperledger is one of the blockchain network which is provided by the IBM. IBM company has introduced Hyperledger tech blockchain, and this is a product. Hyperledger blockchain is introduced by IBM with Linux Foundation, combination of Linux Foundation. And we have Corda also. It's another blockchain, open source blockchain technology for the business. In fact, even Oracle also has introduced blockchain technology, but still it is not on live. They are in process. It's still not in live. Let me search in Google. We'll get it. Introducing Oracle Autonomous Blockchain Cloud Service, but still it is not at that much live compared to Ethereum or a Hyperledger. Okay, so we have this. So these are different blockchain networks we have in the market. We can suggest the 46% of network, 46% of market captured by Ethereum blockchain. Ethereum blockchain. So this course also is for Ethereum blockchain. We are going to learn Ethereum blockchain. I am the Ethereum blockchain architect. I can deliver blockchain developer training course and blockchain architect training. Both I can deliver it. So if it is an architect, you have to perform end-to-end transactions by creating the network, your own currency, your own tokens, and you can go for define that. And developer means we'll be able to develop the programs. It is. And IBM Hyperledger is different. That is a different technology. It's an IBM product for an enterprises. These two major, and the first place is a Ethereum blockchain. Okay. And blockchain use cases are there for different variety industries. Most of the people think that the blockchain can be implemented only for financial transactions, only for financial sector, only for financial services. Yes, it is used for financial services because already Bitcoin is using. Okay, it's already proved technology. But the blockchain can be implemented for insurance services. It can be implemented for payments, and it can be used for securities, and you can see non-financial services. We can implement for healthcare. We can implement for consumer and public sector and other. So it's not only financial transaction. Most of the people think that blockchain is only for financial transaction. No, it's not like that. It can be used anywhere in any domain where multiple parties are doing some business. If they would like to have transparency and trust, then they can go for implement the blockchain technology. They can go for implement blockchain technology. Here it is. So it's not only financial services. Okay. So, and if we look at the job market, it's just started. I cannot say that immediately all of a sudden now a lot of jobs are there in the market. And if we look at in 2016, there was around 1,000 jobs were there. And now it's 2017. Last year it was around 4,500. In 2018, I think it's around 20,000. 5 times it has been increased. 5 times it has been increased. So in next onwards, it will be more on the blockchain technology because everybody has to go for blockchain technology. Here it is. When the clients are looking for a security and distributed, then they have to go for it. So there will be two types of jobs in the blockchain technology. 2 types of roles will be there. One is blockchain architect. Another one is a blockchain developer. One is blockchain architect. Another one is a blockchain architect developer. So architect is nothing but a person who is having already project management experience, and he has to understand the client's business processes and applications, whatever they are using. Some clients might be using SAP. Some clients might be using some web applications, Java, and they might be using some Oracle. We have to understand their client's business, and we need to identify the gap exactly where we can implement the blockchain, both on-chain and off-chain. And we have to suggest to the client whether Ethereum can be applied or whether the Hyperledger can be there or any other blockchain technology can be implemented, network, okay, to the clients. So this all POCs has to be prepared and it has to be delivered to the clients, proof of concepts, and delivered to the clients. And software development life cycle manner he has to deliver. So it's an architect who will take care of end-to-end process, right from conducting the workshops and providing the solution to the client and POC, and then designing the project timeline and also the network, selecting the blockchain network and all. So what are the prerequisites? If you want to become a blockchain architect, what are the prerequisites are required? So the person must have an experience in project management in Java or .NET or Oracle, SAP or some other ERP technologies. And he must have some idea about the cryptocurrency transactions. If at all your client is going to issue some coins, because nowadays it is very quite common, everyone is issuing their own coins into the market, okay, so they have to go for have some practical knowledge of cryptocurrencies and all here. Okay, that's a very high level job, blockchain architect. At least it will be 25 lakhs to 35 in Indian market now, the blockchain architect. The second one is a blockchain developer, which is basically a developer job. When architect design the entire process, then in that we are going to build the programs. Blockchain developer here, we are going to develop the programs here. It is understand the basic requirement, what data we have to manipulate and deliver and provide the security. This all. Okay, so in blockchain technology, we don't call the name as a program. We call it as a simply smart contract. So for example, if you are working in Oracle, we call it as a program. Java, we call it as something class or library. And Microsoft, we call it as some programs. But in blockchain technology, we call it as a smart contract. So we never use the program word. Instead of this word program, we will use the blockchain technology called smart contract. One smart contract is nothing but one program. It's a code. It's a logic you are writing. It's a logic you are writing. Okay. And what are the prerequisites? If you want to become a blockchain developer, or if you want to learn the blockchain technology and become a blockchain developer, what are the prerequisites are required here? You must have some basic knowledge of Java. You should know what is class, what is variable, what is if statement, what is for loop, what is exception handling, and what is private, public, and external. And you should have some basic knowledge on the JavaScript, how to write JS files and JavaScript files, and how to compile it. Okay, and basic Linux commands. You should know the basic Linux commands and all. Then only we can learn the blockchain technology. Otherwise, it is difficult. This is completely coding. It's a programmer job. Obviously, coding logic is required. A person who are having good communication and good logical skills and also programming skills and Java. If you are a good in Oracle or some database or Microsoft .NET, it won't take much time you to transfer into basic JavaScript. You can easily transfer within days and you can go ahead with that. So that's a basic thing. If you are good here, then it will be easy. Well and good here. Okay, fine. So anybody is having doubts here about the rules? Please. So these are prerequisites. This is what our course now we are going to deliver, blockchain developer. Okay. So now if we look at our job market right now, which we have in the system, and let's search here. It is we go for blockchain developer. So this all things comes into the picture when we are working with blockchain developer, immediate joiner, and we'll be talking about PKI, encryption, single, this all comes Node.js. Okay, this all comes in within our course, blockchain developer. Here it is, GitHub, and this is a Hyperledger job. This is for a Hyperledger network. As just now I told, we required JavaScript, and they'll ask a lot of other things, but not mandatory. Here it is. Okay. Fine. So now you might be having some curiosity, like which language we will use to develop the smart contracts in blockchain. Smart contracts means programs. It's simply. So I don't want to use that word program in blockchain. I want to use the smart contract word. So smart contract is an official word we are supposed to use if we are working in blockchain technology. One smart contract means indirectly one program. Okay. So which language we will use? There is a language called Solidity. There is a language called Solidity language. This we have to learn. So this we are going to learn end to end. So this language is similar to JavaScript. That's why I told, if you are having some basic knowledge of JavaScript, like the format of the JavaScript, how we write and execute and all, then it will be easy to learn the Solidity language. Once you are become a strong in Solidity language, then you can easily develop the smart contracts and blockchain. Develop the smart contracts and blockchain. Okay. Once you develop the smart contract by using Solidity language, where you will go for execute these things, in which blockchain? Ethereum blockchain network. Ethereum blockchain network. For example, you written some SQL query in your notepad. Where you execute your SQL query, you will connect to the database, right? Oracle database, and you will execute. Same way, once you build our smart contract by using Solidity language, then where do you deploy it, or where do you execute? Which framework you will use? Ethereum. That's what Ethereum blockchain. As we discussed, there are other blockchains also, other blockchains as Hyperledger, Ethereum, multi-chain, Eris Industries, Coda, Open Blockchain. A lot of blockchains are there in the market now, and in future obviously there will be a number of blockchains will comes into the picture with very less price, and some people may offer with free of cost also. Obviously when the competition comes into the picture, there will be a provided, right? Okay, so that's where. But now Ethereum network is very high secured, and very within seconds transactions can be stored and blocks can be generated and all this here. So this is the language we are using to build the smart contracts in blockchain, and this is the platform, our framework, where we are going to execute our blockchain smart contracts. Okay, and this is what we have to learn: Ethereum framework. We have to understand the framework and understand the architecture of the Ethereum, so that we can go for deploy our smart contract on the Ethereum. And then we have to learn the Solidity language. By using Solidity language, we can build the programs, smart contracts we can develop. Once we develop, we will go for use the Truffle. Truffle is a framework where we are going to group our smart contracts. Whatever smart contracts we have developed, okay, that we are going to group it in the Truffle and execute on the Ethereum network. It's just like a project. It's just like a project. Solidity is a language, programming language. By using Solidity programming language, we are going to build the smart contracts. Either one smart contract or 100 smart contracts we will write. All that smart contracts we are going to put it in our project by using the Truffle, and this Truffle will be used to execute on the network. And MetaMask is an application which is used your browser based. When we are working with web application clients, we are going to talk about the MetaMask to perform the operations in the web architecture. And then we have a Ganchi network. This Ganchi network is used, it's a library where we can find Web3 technologies here. So far, whatever we are using like Facebook or Amazon or YouTube or Google, these all are Web2 technologies. All are Web2 technologies. We are going to come back into this, it's Web3. It's going to be Web3 technologies. This is what our future technology. Okay, so there is a separate browser for this. There is a separate Skype calls on this around all. And Uport is again, it's an mobile. It's a mobile app where you can perform mobile transactions. But nowadays, we know that every client is asking mobile activity, mobile app for their business. Okay, they will be having a website and they will be also having mobile application, so that we are going to have the transactions through the Uport technology here. So these all things we have to learn. Then you will become as a Ethereum blockchain developer. When you are perfect in all these 6 areas, technically, practically, if you are good, then you are going to be a blockchain developer. You are going to be a blockchain developer in Ethereum network. This is what our course we are going to have. All these 6 technologies we are going to learn. Okay. So any doubts here, guys, at this point of time? Yes. And this is going to be our syllabus, this course syllabus. We'll be having cryptocurrency introduction, set up private blockchain and blockchain introduction. And we'll be talking about remix and complete Solidity language end to end. We are going to learn how to set up Ethereum clients, EVMs, Ethereum virtual machines, how to set up private blockchain, how to create our own blockchain we'll be discussing, and wallets and browsers, how to configure Truffle and Web3 technologies and Swarm, Uport, MetaMask, how to build distributed applications end to end we will be discussing, and how to create our own tokens like Bitcoin. You would like to implement your own ICOs, then it will be used. You would like to implement initial coin offering. So if you want to go for implementation of initial coin offerings, then you can go for this here. ICO stands for initial coin offering here. So I'll be explaining how to define initial coin offering. We'll define our own currency, our own tokens, and our own private blockchain, and we'll be doing all our practice examples. And this is our office address in both Hyderabad and Bangalore. And if you have any queries, you can come to our office and discuss regarding placements and training and all. And we have the next demo. It will be tomorrow or on Monday. So what we are requesting is, please provide your contact number. And some people has already provided the email ID. Please provide the contact number so that we will inform to you the next demo of the technical things. Okay. So next demo will be technically we'll be discussing here. It is. Okay, guys, any other doubts here? Fine. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. It was wonderful. Around 1 hour you have spent it with us and weekend. And please drop your number. We will update you the next session on this. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. let's catch up you next